Science, Grade 4, Unit 1, Classifications of Plants. Vocabulary. Mathematics. Number 1. Expanded notation. Expanded notation. Expanded notation. Number 2. Greater. 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 Number 3. Hundreds. 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 Science. Number 1. Involve. 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 Number 2. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. Number 3. Photosynthesis. 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 Social studies. Number 1. Vow. 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 Number 2. Preach. 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 Number 3. Overcome. 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 Health education. Number 1. Emotion. 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 Number 2. Intellectual. 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 Number 3. Physical. 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 English. Number 1. Banana. 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 Number 2. Bed. 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 And number 3. Bicycle. 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 Now let's have dictation. Please get your science notebook and your pencil. Please write the day today. The numbers your paper from 1, 2, and 3. Are you ready? Let's start. Number 1. Please spell process. Write the word process. P-R-O-C-E-S-S. Again, it's P-R-O-C-E-S-S. Number 2. Pollination. Spell the word pollination. P-O-L-L-I-N-A-T-I-O-N. Again, it's P-O-L-L-I-N-A-T-I-O-N. Pollination. Now let's have number 3. Number 3, fertilization. Fertilization. Fertilization spells is F E R T I L I Z A T I O N. Again, it's F E R T I L I Z A T I O N. Fertilization. Now let's check the words if you got it correctly. Number 1, we have process. 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 Number 2, pollination. 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 Number 3, fertilization. 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 Now let's talk about classifications of plants. All plants has classification, and there are two classifications that we have. The first one is the flowering, and then the second one is the non-flowering. Now let's talk first about the flowering plants. Flowering plants are categorized as high-class plants. At an adult stage, the plants produce flowers which can develop into fruits and seeds after being pollinated and fertilized. And these are the examples of the flowering plants. We have rose, hibiscus, sunflower, mango, banana, and papaya are flowering plants. So these are the plants that produces flowers and fruits. So these are what we call the high class plants because they produce fruits and seeds. So these are the examples of the flowering plants. These are the herbaceous plant, shrub, tree. Please familiarize the name. Look at the picture carefully and familiarize the name again. The first one is herbaceous plant, second shrub, the third tree. These are the flowering plants. Flowering plants. Non-flowering plants do not carry flowers. As it named, non-flowering plants. Instead, they produce spores or cones that are used for their propagation. And non-flowering plants do not reproduce. They are propagating or they use propagation. Algae, moss, fern, and conifer are the non-flowering plants. So because they do not produce seeds or fruits or flowers where it bears seeds, they will use spores. And spores are carried by a spores case. And these are the spores. The dots that you see, many dots, these are what we call spores. And these spores help the non-flowering plants, which is the fern, to reproduce. Next, we have cones. Cones from a conifer tree. These cones help the conifer to reproduce because the non-flowering plants do not bear fruits. So they need spores and cones. And these are the examples of the non-flowering plants. First one is algae. Second one, moss. Third one, ferns. Remember the spores? The spores grows in the ferns. Next, the conifer. This is the tree where the cones came from. Now, if you're confused, what is the difference between the algae and the moss? So the algae, it grows in the water. It grows in or on the water or by the water. While the moss, it grows in a dry soil, in a dry stone, in a dry roots of the tree, in the lower part of the tree. So that's how it differs from each other. And these are the non-flowering plants. B. Flowering plants. Monocotyledon and dicotyledon. So look at the difference between the monocotyledon. The example is corn. And the dicotyledon, the example is bean. Let's start talking about the monocotyledon. So the corn, the seed coat, they are the same. Dicotyledon also has a seed coat. The next is endosperm. Endosperm also is present in the bean. Next, here's the different single cotyledon, only one. The dicotyledon is not single, it's double cotyledon. And the next, the leaf sheath. First, true leaves. Next is the embryonic root. And then about the roots, look at the roots of the monocotyledon. First, leaf sheath. Look at how it differs. Next, look at the leaf, parallel veins. All are just the same direction, parallel. It's called parallel, one direction. And then the leaf sheath. And the roots are fibrous roots. It's fibrous roots. Now let's go to dicotyledon. Two cotyledons. So there are two. It's not only one. Seed coat. There is also a seed coat in monocotyledon. Now the difference there is in the dicotyledon, it is only top root. So it means to say that the roots are not tiny or small. It is bigger than the fibrous root. And then look at the leaves. The leaves are not parallel. It has many directions. It not just only one directions. And it is like a net-like veins. It is called net-like veins. So for you to understand more about the difference between the monocotyledon and the dicotyledon, please look carefully at these pictures. So we have the classifications. The two classifications. First is monocot's feature. Second one is a dicot's feature. And we will look at how they are different with the seed, root, stem, leaf, and flower. Now let's start talking about the seed. In the monocot's feature, the seed is single cotyledon. It means to say that it's one seed leaf. While the dicot's feature is double cotyledon. It means to say that it is two seeds leaf. Now the root. The root in monocot's feature, it's fibrous root system. Again, it's fibrous root system. It is bigger than the dicot's feature because the dicot's feature is the tap root system. Next, the stem. In the monocot's feature, the stem is scattered. The vascular bundles are scattered. Look at the vascular bundles. They are not arranged. Compared to the dicot's feature, the vascular bundles are formed in a ring. It is formed in a ring. They're forming a circle in dicot's feature. Next, the leaf. The leaf in monocot's feature lives with the parallel veins. All the lines are with the same directions. They are all parallel. While the dicots feature leaves with net-like veins. They have different direction. So you can really spot a difference between the two. Next, the flowers. The monocots feature multiples of 3. So it is only limited to 3 flowers. While the dicots feature multiples of 4 or 5. So you can really spot a difference with a flower, easily spot a difference with a flower, leaf, and stem. Please remember this one, familiarize. Now let's have review. I'm going to ask you question, but please do not include this on our activity. Do not write this. We have our activity. First question, what classification of plants do not carry flowers? A. Flowering plants. B. Non-flowering plants. The answer is B. Non-flowering plants. The question is about do not carry flowers. That's why the answer is non-flowering plants. Next. What classification of plants are categorized as high-class plants? Remember, high-class plants. A. Flowering plants. B. Non-flowering plants. The answer is flowering plants. Remember that they are categorized as high-class plants because they produce flowers and fruits. Next, how do the non-flowering plants propagate or reproduce? Or in other words, how they multiply without the seed and the fruit? A. By producing spores or cones. B. By producing special seeds. The answer is A. By producing spores and cones. This is spores and this is cones. Algae, moss, fern, and conifer are examples of what plant classification? A. Flowering plants. B. Non-flowering plants. Answer is non-flowering. One seed leaf, fibrous root system, multiples of 3 floral are some of the features of A. Dicot. B. Monocot. The answer is A. Dicot. Remember, the question is about one seed leaf, fibrous root system, multiples of 3 floral. Activity, matching type. So we have 10 items. Just refer to the picture in the column B. Number 1, spore. Number 2, tree. Number 3, vascular bundles in a ring. Number 4, conifer. Number 5, moss. Number 6, cones. Number 7, flowering plants. Number 8, floral parts in multiples of 3. Number 9, shrub. Number 10, leaves with net-like veins. So that's all for today. Please keep in mind what you have learned. Please also read your book. See you again next time.